All right, and welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Monday, August 5th, 2024. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So we had Black Monday. So margin call Monday here in the markets here. And you can see the S&P down just under 3%. Q's down 3 as well. Dow down 2.6, and the Russell was down, I think, 3.22. So very big volatility. We did not get a circuit breaker, though. I was a little surprised. And the afternoon, honestly, was very orderly, considering we had volatility as high as it was, at least on the VIX. But you can take a look at the afternoon here. Towards the end of the day, I mean, this has just really kind of died out. I mean, yeah, we were still having 20-point swings every 10 minutes, but directionally, it's not like we had, the pre-market, we had way more direction, right? Directional swings. This is disorderly selling. Last night, down 75 points in 30 minutes. Then in the next hour, you're back up 75 points. Then you're down 85 points in the next 2 hours. Then up 100 points. That's disorderly selling. As soon as the market opened, though, we had a little V shape. We had a little bull flag kind of action up into this pivot rejection, and then just drifted down to the end of the day. It wasn't really that disorderly, despite this only happening 4 times in the history of the market. That's the volatility index, basically, the highest it's ever been. Being above a 60, we'll call it, only 4 times. Today, COVID, GFC, and 1987, the original Black Monday. That was before they had circuit breakers. But interesting. Yeah, we didn't hit those circuit breakers. NQ was down 6% pre-market. So massive move here. Little W bottom there at the lows, and a kind of a higher low here. Palantir earnings is out, and that is getting a pop. It's at 28.31, so that's helping out the AI kind of tech names. That's a good pop for Palantir, and the market kind of needed that here today. But just a reminder here: there's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of rhetoric going on. I had to turn Twitter off for like several hours this morning. A lot of bad takes too. Look, it doesn't matter if this is the yen. It doesn't matter if this is jobs, a recession. It doesn't matter if it's because of Iran. Just follow price. Like, there's a lot of people out there making predictions. The Fed's not going to do this. The Fed's going to do that. This is what just follow price, because nobody really knows what the real situation is here. That's why it's dangerous. But if price gets above a certain level, right? You have to respect that. Likewise, if it gets below that, it doesn't matter what the Fed's going to do at that point. What matters is price is above, right? Or price is below. It doesn't matter if the carry trade is doing this. None of that matters. Just follow price in these situations. Trying to figure out the why is going to get you into serious trouble. Ask me how I know that. Okay, I'm speaking from experience here. That said, my opinion, I think the carry trade's more of a red herring than anything. I think it's just over levered vol sellers. You look at yields today. Yields were flat on the 10-year. I told you guys 3.7 would be support on the 10-year. And we can let's flip over right now and we'll talk about yields. I know I'm going to go kind of out of order today, but there's just a lot going on. But you can see here the 10-year flat and the 2-year flat. And the yield curves uninverted for all of 5 seconds, and then they came back in. If Japan's forced to sell treasuries, yields should be going up, and they're not. They've been going down. But today, 3.7 held, and we got a bounce. I mean, I know there's swap lines open. I know that. I really don't think that it's the carry trade blowing up. That was supposedly a thing in 2015, and was that a good time to buy stocks? I think you know the answer to that. Another question, I asked this on Friday as well, but here's to visualize it. The 4th most volatile day in the market in 4 decades was today. COVID lockdown, GFC, Black Monday. Were any of these times good times to buy stocks? So just don't lose sight of the big picture. And I'm not saying that this is it. That's the market bottom, but volatility breeds opportunity. Fear breeds opportunity. Everybody knows Warren Buffett, be greedy when others are fearful. It's hard to put it into practice, but people are definitely fearful now. So we're getting into extreme fear. And if you know anything about market cycles, the crash is where the low is put into place. So bear markets, studying bear markets, the the biggest thing everybody thinks about crashes, but crashes are usually what happens at the end. Very much like '09, March '09 or November '08, that was getting close to the lows. COVID was interesting as we crashed from a high. And again, it lasted 4 weeks. This could last longer too, but time wise, I don't think it's going to last that long before we have a major low in place. That could mean we drop another 1,000 points, right? What if we go down to, what if the over leverage, is that bad? We go down to this lower trend line here, right? 4,600. That could be a thing. Maybe we do this and then we, do one of these. That's possible. But start getting into the mindset of I'm going shopping for quality names that I like. So it's just something to keep in mind there. At face value right now, I didn't like the close today. So I talked about this in the short, but for a low to be in place, you want and I said 52.25, aka 520 SPY-ish, was resistance, but you want to see a one candle pullback there, and then that's what you want to see. This nonsense, not really great. And then the close, that's not what a low looks like. That doesn't mean we can't just gap and go tomorrow, but it means we'll probably see a lower high at some point, I think, anyway. Now, tomorrow, I don't know, maybe Iran, if the United Nations find a missile in Iran's butt or something like that, and they put it all over TV and there's a lot of noise out there. The algos are really sensitive right now because the VIX is very high. So they could just gap us down, but look, we're going to go right into that 200. That's going to be a pretty good area. There's going to be some games played around that 200, but it should be good for a big bid too. So there's definitely opportunities to trade and fade this market. The Qs here, again, mega volume today, by the way, SPY, big volume. Going back to, I think you got to go back to this area right here. I'm not even sure what that was. Oh, that was the post FOMC, I think, wasn't it? I'm not sure, but either way, big volume there, SPY. Qs gapping below the 200, and they got defended by the end of the day. And one of the things I noticed is the NQ was down 6.5% earlier. The spiders were only down 3.5, 4. Yes, rather. But by the end of the day, look how they came back to parity, and they were at parity a lot. Again, for bulls, you want to see that. You want to see the NASDAQ start to outperform. So that's a good sign. We also went into a lot of support here. There's a local support there for sure. So I don't think this is necessarily over, but anything can happen here. And this can be traded on both sides. Right now, you definitely don't want to be shorting into the hole from a swing trading perspective, obviously, but if we get the right setup with a lower high, that could be faded as well. And I think you can still DCA into longs for the inevitable massive squeeze that's coming. So there's opportunities here on both sides. One little secret I'm going to let you guys in on. I don't talk about the VVIX a lot, but again, the volatility of the VIX, this has been elevated the whole time, even with this little drop here. Even as the VIX itself came back in, all the way almost to Friday's highs. We almost, got below that. But if VVIX is still elevated, that means the market's still kind of we could still see another vol spike. Do we go to 100? It could happen. Or do we just go back up to 50 and then put in a low? That's also possible. But if this starts to drop, I think that's going to be a sign that the market's putting in a low. So if we're seeing a V-shaped rally and this is coming in hard, I think that's a good sign. It also could be a good sign if this starts coming in as the VIX is rising. So kind of they're contradicting each other. A couple of things to look for. Okay, that IWM, let's move on here. Down 3.22. That did hit the 200 and bounced. We'll see. Maybe this offers a bounce here. Let me get rid of these old fibs. It's down 228 to 197. So it's down 30% in not even really 3 full days. This was at like 3 o'clock on Thursday. So pretty amazing move. Dow here down again, everything getting slashed. There is a little bit of support at 385, then below that's the 200. Watch the semis too. So the SOX went green at one point today, and I said if that holds, like we're probably going to rally. We're going to put in a low. Again, it's a semiconductor-led sell-off, so it's going to be a semiconductor-led recovery and rally. Palantir certainly helps with that if they can hold those gains. But SMH down. In fact, it was funny. The weakest stock today in the semi space was NVIDIA, down 6.3. Again, maybe that's because this is a leverage story more than anything else. And this has got to be the most leveraged piece of shit, excuse me, in the whole market. Let me say leveraged pig, fattest pig in the market. There. You look at other semis today, AMD up 1.75, hit my level perfectly. I did not enter. There was too much commotion going on, but I love that level. And then you look at other things like Broadcom. This was only down 1%. You know, TSM down 1.25. KLA was green. AMAT was green. And some of the other semis here, by the way, my CrowdStrike that I did pick up the other day was green. That was the only cloud stock in the whole market. By the way, it's only 22 S&P stocks were green today. Yeah, CrowdStrike was the only cloud one. AMD, Lam Research, ON, and KLA were green. Qualcomm wasn't down that much either. But NVIDIA was the weakest one. So that's why SMH was weaker. Anyway, IGV here down 2.83. It did come nicely off the lows, though, when we defended that pivot. So we'll see about these things here. We'll see where we end the week. Another thing that was very interesting, too, the Dow Transports almost went green today at 1.2, which would have probably made heads explode. If these closed green today, you would have seen so many people angry. I already saw people losing their minds over Apple recovering. Like, dude, if you were short on Friday and you weren't covering at least some into the low stay, you're just as much of a pig as the people who are vol selling up here. That's just a fact. It's the biggest stock in the market. You think it's not going to bounce on a day like today? At least, you know, there's not going to be a reflex. You know, greed works both ways. In true bear markets, both bears and bulls lose money, right? All right. By the way, there is some fear out there. We're now into extreme fear at a 19. Let's take a look at yields. We touched on it a minute ago. Again, 10-year 3.7. Never got there during Christmas when I was looking for it. It hit now. It's wildly oversold, so I would think we bounce up here. That will help the market here. If yields do bid up, the market will probably like that. 30-year here, again, close to that double bottom area. Sliced below. Did it get to below 4? Yeah, just ticked below 1/10 below 4%, and then that was the low of the day. 5s and 2s were green. Again, inverted yield curve. So much for that. It was uninverted for 1 second. And then the 3-month and 10-year is just going completely the wrong way. So that's why I think this is all nonsense. You should just stop worrying about recession. You just focus on the charts. Because if the 3-month, and nobody can answer this, nobody has an answer for me, right? If the Fed's going to cut, then why is the 3-month yield higher than everything else? The Fed controls the short end, right? Last I checked. We'll see, I guess. XHB down 3%. This actually held up really well, though, on an intraday basis. It, you know, climbed back pretty nicely inside of Friday's range. It didn't really back off all that much by the end of the day. Home builders are just so resilient and strong. But we did lose that inside bar low, so be careful with them. That is a daily chart sell signal right now. Weekly chart is still, you know, very strong uptrend. VNQ was strong in the morning and then came back in, still held the 20 MA by the end of the day. That probably needs to test lower prices. Fins were on the weaker side. XLF down 2.9. Goldman was pretty strong, though. I liked how Goldman held that 100 MA and came off the lows. That was a strong name. JPM came off the lows as well. KRE down 2.75, but again, gapping, selling into the 50 MA. Same thing with KBE, and then they came back up by the end of the day. So again, a lot of the things looking like they want to bounce here, but again, you never know with this overnight stuff here. Broker dealers on the weaker side, again, a lot of these jerks leverage short vol, and they're getting wiped out. Again, another contradiction here. We can talk about Iran all we want, but crude is red. I don't really have a level on it. It's holding 72 right now. You got this little level right here. And I haven't touched crude in a minute. XLE held up okay on a relative basis, I suppose, down 2.2. A lot of stable companies like XOM could be a little bit of a safety play. Chevron was down, but XLE held the 86 handle. But a lot of damage done, and then XOP going down almost 52-week lows here. It's starting to get a little interesting though. So there's certain things, like I said, that if you have on your shopping list, you might want to start thinking about that. OIH again getting hit like everything else outside of the wedge. We'll see what it does by the end of the week. If it can reclaim that, then it can just be a fake breakdown. CCJ again continuing to overshoot the head and shoulders target. Next big level, well, you're into the 100 weekly, so it might get a bounce there. You got the pivot low. Yeah, it might be able to hold up here for now. It might be due for a bounce. Next big level, though, is down like 30 to 32. So just be aware of that. URNM 200 MA hitting that old trend line too and getting a bounce off the lows today. So good bounce there, good reflex. And same thing with the NJ, although this is a new issue, so we don't really have much to go off of, but that little mini support there. But it came off the lows. Nat gas actually looks a little interesting here today. Down 2 cents, but it had a tail candle. Finished inside of Friday's range, so that's 2 tail candles in a row, and I kind of like how it looks like on the hourly. Little kind of bull pattern there. Little wedge there. Maybe we can get a little bid. I didn't touch it, but if it pumps back up, it's going back to probably like 210. So it's interesting at least. Dollar index down, but it came off the lows. So again, still getting thrashed though, but holding that pivot for now. I don't have a play on the dollar right now. Dollar yen, again, getting a big slice. There is support right here. Speaking of the yen, the Nikkei, there's a level on this well, it's probably kind of late now, but I was talking about it. I tweeted this on Friday, I think, about the 33 handle. So you had a 50% fib with that pivot. There's your fib low. We sliced through that, obviously, but we went right to the 618. Look at that. Beautiful. So just a really nice level there. By the way, China stocks today holding up really well. If you like ASHR, for instance, that was flat today. So China held up well. Okay. Gold took a really good slice again. Why is it down? I think this is, a victim of margin selling very often. It usually leads to a very good buying opportunity in gold. So keep your pockets open. SIL. So this triggered on my buy alerts this morning, but it was like one of those things where it reacts so fast that by the time my alert caught it, it was already up $1.50. I had a weekly buy signal on this, and this would have been a monster trade if I had gotten in there. It went right to like basically the max move, and then it just took off. Massive move for SIL. Good dip buy here in the miners, right? Miners came off the lows better than the metal did. I do think gold and silver will be a buy here in the not too distant future. Platinum getting smoked here, so good trend line retest and then a good hit there. And then palladium new multi-year lows. Again, I still think this is on an absolute discount here. It's on the discount rack. So maybe go looking for that soon. And then copper here, outside move. I probably would have picked some up down in the low 390s, but again, so much going on today. Just trying to keep up with ES was enough of a task, but I do think it's interesting right here, at least for a bounce play. And then everybody's throwing themselves off a cliff on Bitcoin. I don't think there's really anything that bad on Bitcoin, honestly. Specifically Bitcoin, though. There's really nothing wrong with this, honestly. I don't think there's anything that bad. I really don't. Let me just redraw this. Like, we could just... Let me just redraw it as a channel, widen the range a little bit. There we go. I mean, I just don't see why it's that bad. I've been saying that you're in a weekly, and I even said this exact thing could happen, right? Like we can go up here, it's probably gonna have a failed breakout, and then it could come down here and then just chop around until what? Until the monthly 20 MA catches up to price. Is that going to happen? Well, it's not guaranteed, but I just gave you that scenario, and well, it's only 4,000 points off the lows. So, by the way, all it did was retest the weekly 50 MA too. So use the bigger time frames too. Don't limit yourself. ETH, on the other hand, hopefully this was a warning, but that's what these things are for. They don't always work, but it's a warning. When you close below a Bollinger sidebar like that, it turns into a bear pattern and pretty good slice. But look where it went. Beautiful level. That's been on my chart for forever. I haven't touched it. I forgot about it, honestly. And look at where it went. Well, I don't think Bitcoin's really in that much trouble yet. Now, if it starts to break down, yeah, then it can go to 40,000. But so far it's gotten defended, so we'll just leave it there. All right, let's just take a look here at the futures. So we're holding up all right. So Palantir helping out. We'll see what we get overnight. There's going to be some nonsense. There's going to be news. There's going to be more volatility. I'm surprised how much volatility died down at the end of the day in the last like 2 hours. But spiders right now, 520 is a big level for them to stay above. I want to see a close above that daily, and then really above the high of the day, obviously. So for SPX, I'm going to say 5220, and then 5250. 5,300 would be kind of the, if we close above that Friday's low, that would certainly, I think we could squeeze up a lot more. But right now, 1, 2, 3 sell, 3 black crows. We might get a bounce tomorrow, but again, we'll see what we get here. Don't lose your minds. We've been through way worse than this before. Honestly, I think it's just a margin unwind more than it is any of the other stuff that's going on. So that's my 2 cents. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. See you guys all tomorrow.